Think about Austria-Hungary, a special empire that was a mix of different people and cultures. This empire came about in 1867 and was a place where you could hear 15 different languages in its streets, showing how diverse its people were. It was home to all sorts of people, like Germans and Hungarians, as well as Czechs, Slovaks, Serbians, Bosnians, Croats, Poles, and others. All these different people showed how multicultural this empire was. Surprisingly, Austria-Hungary didn't have any colonies overseas. Maybe the emperor was too busy trying to keep the empire together. After all, many different ethnic groups lived there, and they all wanted to be independent. It was really hard to keep the country together, even without the added problem of looking after more territories. The emperor was well liked, but his local helpers weren't. People often got upset new laws and rules. There were loads of fights and protests against the government. The trouble wasn't just between the people and the government, it was also among different groups of people. For example, in December 1897, there were big fights in Prague between Germans and Czechs. 10 people died and 200 got hurt. As the First World War was about to start, it got harder and harder to keep Austria-Hungary together. The Czech in the north and the Croat people in the southwest of Austria-Hungary wanted to rule themselves. The Serbs living in the south wanted to team up with the nearby country of Serbia, which was getting stronger and was a good friend of Russia. Even though it had its own problems, Austria-Hungary was really strong and important in the world. They had a huge army with 810,000 soldiers, 24 big warships, 6 underwater boats, and 35 flying war and bomb-dropping planes. They were not to be messed with. They were also great at making things. Every year they made 47 million tons of coal and 5 million tons of steel. Finishing up, you might start to wonder, what would have happened to Austria-Hungary if it had handled its mix of people differently? Could a different way have calmed the tension between the different ethnic groups and brought everyone together? Or it have simply put off the unavoidable? Looking at Austria-Hungary's past gives us a really interesting example of how tough and complicated it can be to manage a country with lots of different ethnic groups.